Okay, so next up we've got Louie. Good old Louie. There's no way your name's Jordan. Okay, so Louie, let me make sure I open this up. Presentation and contents, as well as what is missing. So you're saying environment artist, so I will go in with that as the expectation. I like that the engine logo is here, just so I can be aware of like what you're doing. Let's look at this ArcViz for VR. I mean, in general, this looks nice. I think the thing that bugs me usually with ArcViz is when things are too sharp. Like the edge here is really sharp, but I think in real life it tends to be quite sharp as well. Matt's Effect, what's up, man? How you doing? What I would suggest that you look at when you're building these spaces is like, think about, I mean, this one's in Unreal, correct? Yeah, Unreal ArcViz. So the bedroom looks all right, but think about the character space. Like, bring the character in, like the block out or the character, the Unreal character, the mannequin, if you will, and just kind of stand him around and just see how his spacing feels and think about if those were your legs and thinking about how much room you need in order to flow around the space, right? Quilly Willy, what's up, man? How you doing? I think in this shot, the carpet here feels like the texture maybe is stretched and it's lacking the kind of thickness that you're expecting for it to be resting on the floor. So it kind of feels like it's projected onto the floor, but then it doesn't have the same kind of normal information on it. So you get a little detached from it. Funny enough, this was for a client though through work. So it's definitely in scale. Man, that's weird. Okay. I mean, I guess the space just feels really tight. Like, and maybe in the end, if that's the case, then it's just really scary to have a kitchen so close to the table that has a little step. Like that scares me. The amount of times I will eat crap on the floor, tripping on that, carrying plates to go clean is going to be brutal. I take it there's a step back here too then? This room feels pretty nice. I guess there's that leg back here has like a support because I know these IKEA pieces. I mean, there's some behind me. Oh, nice. I actually really like these shelves. So that's a cool addition with the plants. Nice long windows. Whoa, that seat does not rock. That is really interesting. Yeah, that's a nice office there. That's a nice office you got there. All right, let's look at the fantasy dungeon. So this one's really interesting to me. I remember looking at it before, and I liked the scale of it. It just by the way the depth of field is playing with the size of stuff, kind of feels like a miniature. And I think we've talked about this before as well. Yeah, it's definitely the style. That chair was definitely the design, right? I always love these because then you get to see like how someone was thinking, and then you can also see how early they realized their layout was what they were going to go with. And you can see where they take the artistic liberties back here. So like design would make these walls flat because you can't access anything in them. Art would make them flat by making it look like you can't access them and like actually cutting into the space. I don't know if we can, let me zoom in on that. So you can see back here, like these cut-ins and the supports make it solid again, right? But so much more interesting than just a flat wall. Yeah, it's really cool. This is awesome. Yeah, if you had little figurines with their little platforms that are under them, is that a gap under the stairs? Sorry to call that out. If you can't go back into the scene and fix it, oof. No oofs. Come on, man. Just F's for paying respect. So what you can do is just paint those black. Just because sometimes, sometimes you don't have the scene anymore. So you can just go in there. Nailed it. Photoshop is your friend. As long as you're not doing complete works where it's like, how the hell did he build that? Oh, with Photoshop. You'll be fine. Really nice stuff, though. I think if it could use anything, it's more of like the medium to small props. So you've got some stuff like these rocks here, but some really, really small ones would be nice. Let me see if I can find like a good... So if you had... I'll just make a light material. If you had smaller rocks around these areas, right? And then some that are around here. Maybe a big one and then some other small ones. Those little details are going to go a long ways. A ton of a long ways? That sounds hilarious. Quote me on that one. A ton of a long ways. You can add a little hat there. You see what I did there? Terrible. Mouse drawing at its finest. The only other thing I think would be stuff here, like, so you've got the wood beams here, right? And then you've got, let's see if we can. This type of stuff. I mean, that's a terrible way of me showing you how to do it, but like that, the little gunky stuff that builds up under the wood material and kind of bleeds onto the stone. Adding some elements to the jail cells. Yeah, I mean, if there was just like one little stool in there or like a long bed, maybe a little bucket in there. Gross. A little bucket. These chains, I don't know what they're doing, but that's cool. Oh, I see what they're attached as wood pieces here. See, again, these wood pieces, I think if there was stuff dripping under them, they would ground a little better. Yeah, those would probably ground a little bit better if there was stuff under them. It helps when there's a light above them as well, because then you get the highlight on the top here. Let's look at your other stuff, though. So we've got those. Let's look at the castle. So the snow turned out pretty well. I like how you're blurring out this walkway. This is nice, too. Man, I really feel like for the amount of snow that's on the ground that it should really be piling up here. I don't know. Maybe it actually is just sliding off, so. And it doesn't really have too much snow on the top edge here. Maybe the roof is kind of extending over the top of that. But definitely, like, look at reference of buildings like this and seeing, like, where the snow is. There's got to be a reference of these buildings, like, snow-covered. Nice. Oh, I like the start of that's nice. It's already moving. Yes. Yes. So with these lights, they're quite bright. And I wonder if they were warmer, because like lights that are really white light or cold lights tend to be more ethereal or fantasy. Mainly because it can't be explained, because a lot of the lights in like feudal Japan would be warm lights, right? So if these lights were kind of had like a bit of a flicker to them and they were a little warmer, I think you would get a more realistic feel to them. Yeah, right now it kind of looks like a spotlight for construction on the inside shooting out. And I know you want to get it pretty bright so you can see. One thing I would say too is the mountains in the back, while they look really cool, really need to be separated from the rest of the scene. It helps that the camera is moving, but like the air needs to feel cold as well. Right now that doesn't actually feel like there's much air going on. That makes sense. Let's see if I can grab this and we'll just back to photo poo. I'm just gonna eyeball a bit of this, and then I'll deal with the tree in a little bit. I actually hate it when you double click. How's it feel to watch someone drawing little masking lines? Actually, probably need to make that a mask. So if you do those, if you draw out these shapes and then you make a mask layer, it's automatically going to make the mask for you. So I'm just going to go in and actually lighten this up. So this is kind of like adding a little bit of cold to the image. We'll just go in here and soften this up. There you go. And then like even back here, like because of the fog, you can use that to separate out these elements. Oops. Right, so back there, you can use it to kind of there you go. So you can see how much more that's going to add to like separating out the space. This is just me though. I think it makes sense. It really helps like separate out the elements. Especially when you start seeing the contrast difference. I think you get the point though. I'll stop here in a second. Especially for these like elements that are even closer. So one cool thing you can do is if you can get a render depth pass where you can know how far away stuff is. Right, you get the buffer of depth, of Z depth. So you can use that as this mask instead of painting it. You can put that in the mask itself. And then you can actually run a levels on it and push the fog forward and backwards through the levels. It's really nice. So you can try using that. So in general, though, this looks pretty good. I think One thing I would suggest doing is maybe pushing the roughness values in certain areas up. So like where you have like elements that are either metallic or metal, is to really get those kind of in that reflective range, because you can just get those details popping much more than where they're at currently, because everything's quite clean. So I would expect those to be pretty clean as well. But yeah, pretty cool. I think I'd like to see some breakdowns. Is there any in your work? Just to see like kind of the props separated out. Man, this one's cool. I like this one. And then just, you know, the next scene. Are you posting anything in your blog? That's right, I clicked on it. Oh, yes, you are. You busy. I like it. Oh, cool. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Looking good, man. I mean, I look forward to the next scene. Okay. Next portfolio, and then critiques from the Discord. Be right back.